This is the BYD Sealion 6, priced under 1.6 million pesos and comes with a range of over 1,100 kilometers. Well, what else does it offer? Let's see. Hey guys, Jamil here from AutoIndustriya.com, and yes, those two have been the main talking points when it comes to the BYD Sealion 6. It comes for under 1.6 million pesos, offers very good value, especially for a compact crossover that is electrified. And of course, it offers 1,100 kilometers of range, never heard before from any other crossovers in its segment. But of course, we're here to tell you about the other things that make up what the BYD Sealion is. But before anything else, please make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel so you can follow us here at AutoIndustriya.com. So yes, the BYD Sealion 6 has a lot of those things going on, but as a crossover, it also has plenty to offer. Now in terms of styling, the BYD Sealion 6 has futuristic elements, but at the same time, some conservative elements that make up for a good design. Well, if you can see one on the road, it's pretty striking in front with these horizontal elements that really resemble, I think, the whiskers of a sea lion. Some of them see this one as an Aston Martin DBX or even a Porsche Macan. Well, we'll let you think of that in the comments section down below. Now, this particular BYD Sealion 6 comes with the azure blue color, which, well, I like it a lot because it reminds me of the 90s Civics that I grew up on, especially those VTI generation. Those of you old enough to remember, you'll know what I mean. Now, the side profile of the BYD Sealion 6 is where BYD tried to take things a little conservatively. You got these 19-inch wheels going on over there with the GT tires. Got the side repeaters over there, but you have a simple character line that runs from here to the hood all the way to the back of the crossover. Keeps things simple and pretty much timeless when you take a look at European designs. Now, when you buy the Sealion 6, it already comes with a privacy glass on the second row. That's why you see a dark tinted shade of the glass right over there. Ground clearance is pretty much respectable at 170 plus millimeters because considering that the battery is situated underneath the BYD Sealion 6. We kind of noticed some of the first few units of the BYD Sealion 6 had an issue with the panel alignment, especially in this section right over here. But in this particular unit, it doesn't seem to be the case, so I think BYD has already sorted out those issues in terms of fit and finish with this particular crossover. Now, don't be confused if you find the BYD Sealion 6 with the lid on both sides of the rear quarter. The one on the left right here is for your gas tank. The other one is for charging the batteries and of course using the V2L function of the BYD Sealion 6. But at the back of the BYD Sealion 6, you're gonna find a full width LED taillight that's pretty stylish and actually even reminds me of another European SUV. It's actually a super SUV. You'll know what I mean. Now here we also have the BYD Sealion 6 badge on the right, the DMI system that, well, signifies its PHEV system, the range extended EV system of this particular crossover. Now underneath you also have silver elements and you also have reflectors right over there, pretty stylish at the back, pretty busy, pretty futuristic as well. Now the BYD Sealion 6 has a power tailgate, and when you open this one up, it actually reveals a pretty sizable cabin. The cargo hold of the BYD Sealion 6 measures about 35 inches from here to there, 37.5 inches wide, and about 27 inches in this configuration. But if you want a fully flat cargo area, you can raise this one up. So this is about 25 inches tall. You can also remove the tonneau cover right over here if you want a fold flat cargo area. Now you can fold down the rear seats by using a lid over here. And as you can see, it's pretty flat. In this configuration, you can load things up to 62 inches long. Now underneath, you won't find a spare tire here. You only have a tire sealant and your tire inflator. You also have your early warning device, as well as your plug for the V2L function and a reflective vest if ever you need to work on the BYD Sealion 6. But that's about it here, the cargo hold. Let's check out the hood of the BYD Sealion 6. This is what you're gonna see when you pop the hood of the BYD Sealion 6. There's a lot of plastic. Just kidding. So this is actually what's covering the DMI system of the Sealion 6. So underneath here, you're gonna find the air filter for the 1.5-liter gasoline engine that acts as a range extender for the BYD Sealion 6. So that is connected to an electric motor, and combined, they produce 217 PS and 325 Newton meters of torque. That's powering the front wheels. Now, the battery itself is situated underneath the BYD Sealion 6. It's 18.3 kilowatt hours, and it comes with the BYD's patented blade battery system, which is, well, the renowned battery so far in the market. Now, what else can we see here? You've got hood dampers right over here, hood insulation to keep the heat away from the hood, and it's fully painted right over here. So in terms of build quality, pretty nice. So, but that's about it here at the hood of the BYD Sealion 6. Let's check out what's inside this crossover. The BYD Sealion 6 comes in two different interior color options. The first one that Vince had a walk around on was finished in black and tan. Now this one comes with the navy blue and the gray, and also comes with orange accent stitching. And yeah, it's really spacious here at the second row of the BYD Sealion 6. As you can see, this is my headroom. This is my knee room. I'm about 5'9" for reference. And it's pretty spacious. You can even recline these seats so you can be more comfortable over long drives. Now, what else can you see here at the BYD Sealion 6 second row? Infinity speakers right here. There are 9 speakers all around, really good sound system. Over here, you have an AC vent for left and right passengers. You also have Type A, Type C USB charging ports. A cubby right over here, you can place your phone while you're charging. You also have pockets right over here at the back seats. You have 2 cup holders right here that doubles up as your armrest as you go along. Now, the BYD Sealion 6 also comes with voice recognition system. Hi BYD, open sunshade.
The blind is open.
There we go. It's fantastic, right? Now, the good thing about the BYD Sealion 6 is that it's very spacious here at the second row. Like, 3 passengers can really sit comfortably. The part over here is really flat, so even the center passenger can really have a comfortable time inside the BYD Sealion 6. I like the fact that BYD chose to be a bit more conventional, but still very much up to date in terms of features with the BYD Sealion 6. The Atto 3 had those musical themes going on, as well as the Dolphin with its aquatic shapes right over there. This one for me is much more like it. I mean, the digital instrument cluster, for example, has a binnacle instead of a huge panoramic screen that's in front of you. Now, the steering wheel itself is also nice and sporty. It's flat bottom. You can even have a tilt and telescopic function right over here. The seats, you can see they have the bucket styling, but they're not as bolstered as, sport seats found in sportier vehicles, but still offers pretty good cushioning, and it's also ventilated. Comes with heating function also, but you don't really need it for this type of temperature here in the Philippines. Now, speaking of which, the instrument cluster has plenty of features. You can even customize it to your liking. Right now, we're in the dark mode. And what I found out here is that a lot of Chinese cars usually have most of the interior functions embedded on the screen. But with the BYD Sealion 6, you can actually access the AC function through the digital instrument clusters. You can adjust it through the steering wheel, keeps your hands on the wheel while you're driving. Pretty functional, and I like it that way. Now, what else do we have right here? Of course, typical BYD, you can tilt over the screens for the landscape or a portrait layout. Comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also have a small LED light bar over here that also pulsates whenever you're playing sound. So pretty fantastic, pretty cool for a crossover like this. You have your AC vents right over here, dual wireless charging pads right over here where my phone is being placed. And underneath, you also have a cubby here with the Type C and Type A USB charging ports. Over here, you have plenty of buttons to choose from. The hazard button right over here, traction control, the AEB start stop. You can even switch from EV to HEV with this toggle switch. You also have the drive mode functions right over here at the center console. So BYD really made the Sealion 6 pretty functional without losing too much in terms of, user friendliness. Now you have cup holders right over here. This is a pretty deep center console as well. You got your armrest right over here, padded with leather, so it feels fantastic. Now right over here, you also have your sunshade, which has a built-in lighting system. So now let's get to see what are the functions inside this 15.6-inch touchscreen. You can actually adjust the energy consumption of the BYD Sealion 6 through this monitor. So this is where the DMI system of the BYD Sealion 6 can actually be configured. So right now, you can even adjust the regenerative braking settings, the state of charge settings actually. So right now we're in auto, but what this does is that whenever you're in save mode, the ICE will fire up to reach a certain level of charge while you're running along on the highway. But in auto setting, it chooses the most energy efficient way to charge the batteries and save fuel at the same time. So now we've already heard a lot of times about the BYD Sealion 6 and its impressive range for a range extended EV. But how does it feel like when you're driving it on the road? Well, speaking of which, let's head out for a drive. So now that we're behind the wheel of the BYD Sealion 6, let me tell you what it feels like. Well, for one, the car is wide. I've seen this one parked beside the Montero Sport in the width is, the BYD Sealion 6 is much wider than that. The length of the BYD Sealion 6 is a little over 4.7 meters. So even though it's a compact crossover, it's gonna be long, but if size doesn't really matter to you, then you're gonna enjoy that the BYD Sealion 6 has very light steering for its size. It has electric power steering, but the trade-off to that would be it's a rather uneventful affair when you're carving through mountains. Actually, it's not gonna be the sharpest crossover that you would drive. Let's say compared to a Honda or a Mazda or a Subaru crossover, this one's gonna feel different. But that is to be expected because you have a big battery underneath and you have basically two motors attached in front. So, whenever you try to carve mountains, you're gonna experience a bit of body roll, and it's not gonna be as fantastic as those brands that I've mentioned earlier. But of course, there will always be a trade-off to that. I mean, the BYD Sealion 6, when you're driving it, it's pleasantly uneventful because it's quiet inside. It's got acoustic windshield in front, a lot of sound deadening elements. They put it in the fenders, even at the doors, all those additional sound deadening. It's a very quiet cabin when you're driving around, especially when you're in EV mode, when you have a full charge of battery. It's really pleasant. It's really relaxing to drive around with a car like this, especially on a long drive where you could utilize its range. So that's where the BYD Sealion 6 excels. When you have the dials tuned up between comfort and sport, it's right up there in terms of comfort. So you're not gonna expect, sporty handling with, it's pretty heavy for a crossover because of the batteries and, as I've mentioned, the two motors in front. When you try to accelerate, it's gonna light up the front tires pretty easily, and the traction control is gonna kick in pretty much sooner than you would expect. So for enthusiasts who like to, drive spiritedly around the mountains, you're not gonna be too pleasantly surprised or pleased with the handling of the BYD Sealion 6. But if you want something for the everyday commute that's comfortable, quiet, peaceful, and the sound system is good also. So if you want something like that, then the BYD Sealion 6 is something that you would appreciate. Now, fuel consumption will vary depending on where you're driving the BYD Sealion 6. So if you're mainly using this one for your daily commutes here in the metro, then most of the time you won't be using a lot of fuel. I mean, you may not even be using fuel at all because, it always stays on EV mode. So once you're covered with that 100 kilometer rated EV range, then, well, you're gonna save a lot of fuel, or you're not gonna spend a lot in terms of fuel with the BYD Sealion 6. But on the highways, the Super DMI system of the BYD Sealion 6 switches over to the 1.5 liter engine. And that's because ICEs are generally more efficient than EVs when you're driving at high speeds. So whenever you're doing around 90, 100 on the expressways, you're gonna get around 20, 21 kilometers per liter on average. And of course, every time that you're decelerating or using your brakes, then you're charging up the batteries. Every time, the needle goes into negative on the instrument cluster. Now, I know most of you would want to know what it's like to own a BYD Sealion 6. In terms of the maintenance, well, BYD says you only need to bring the Sealion 6 into the dealerships for service every 6 months, or that's once a year. And what they're gonna do, they're very minor. The typical things that they would do on ICE crossovers, like change oil, the brakes, they're gonna check it. So it's pretty much similar to the maintenance cost that you would expect out of an ICE vehicle. And of course, they have a pretty lengthy warranty also on the batteries, because BYD is one of the leading manufacturers in terms of battery technology. Then that gives you peace of mind also, that you can use the BYD Sealion 6 for a pretty long time. So the BYD Sealion 6 could be your car that serves as the dual purpose. It could be your efficient EV on the city, and it could also be taken into long drives whenever you're going into the provinces for the holidays. It's gonna be very efficient, very comfortable, but don't expect a sporty handling. That's just a drawback. So yeah, no car is really perfect, and the BYD is perfectly an example of that. It's not gonna be perfect, but in a lot of ways, it excels a lot. So what do we think of it? Well, let's head back to the warehouse. There's no denying that the BYD Sealion 6 is one of the hottest selling crossovers in the market today, because at a little under 1.6 million and its promised range, it will definitely get you interested. It's not going to be the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to driving dynamics, but the comfort and everything else will be the one that would seal the deal with the BYD Sealion 6. But tell us what you think about this crossover, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Jamil of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching.